if you are to change the pattern, which I might be doing here because I'm making it for an actual wedding, I need to draw out all my seam allowances first so that I do it the right way. And this is the front piece here. If you have the largest size, that might come in two parts, of course, and will need to be assembled. So measure that, and then you take note in inches or centimeters how much it is. So I've got 5.4 inches, and then that's 13.5 centimeters, and I take note of that. And because we have got two sides to a body, we need to do that twice, of course, to get the right measurements. So we've got 10.8 inches and 27 centimeters. Now I repeat the same on the back. I draw around where I have my seam allowances, and then I can measure across first just to the dart, lift it over, that's 5, and then we've got 13 here. And in inches, I can do the same here, that's 5 inches. And I need to do exactly the same now. I need to times 2 that. So that gives me an idea of how big the pattern is. Actually, of course, you do know that when you look at the chart, but it's a good thing to always measure through just to make sure for yourself and that you understand the system. So that's 20.8 inches. And that is 53 centimeters. So that's the actual measurements. Now, when you have got a little child in it, and you might have to adjust it, first draw these lines across underneath the bust and then through the center. And here I'm leaving it, and I'm going a little bit over to the side because I don't want to get in the way of the dart. And I've made a cross on the back here so I can draw my division lines in here as well. And along those division lines, I will then alter the pattern. So I have to look at the measurements the bride has given me. So I have got my 20.8 inches. And the actual measurement of my child is 18.5 inches. But you should always have some ease. That would be too tight. So you need to add 1 or 1.5 inches to it. And that gets you to 19.5 or 20 inches. That's how big you want to make the dress, 1.5 inches bigger, just so it's all good. So I minus that and I come to 1.3 inches there. Now I have to divide that by 4 because of course I've got 4, sides, 2 fronts and 2 backs basically. And so along those division lines, the central one, I'm going to mark how much I need to make it smaller. And in my case, it's a really, really small amount, but whatever your amount is. And you could also, of course, make it bigger across that line. And then I just sellotape that back together. You never take it off just off the side seam. That does not work. It's going to make it all look very strange. So that's my front done. That's my width done. I still have the length to do, but let's do the width first. Now I take the other back and I cut that open as well, and I have to do exactly the same, of course. I have to mark on there the amount that I'm taking off. So I move that over, place it on top, sellotape it, and job done. Then I have to do the other side, of course, as well. So cut that apart, mark it out again, place it on top, and you're done. Now I've got all 3 pieces, I measure also the length, and the bride has given me the length of 8 inches here, so I can see mine is a little bit too long. Of course, I've got an extra centimeter there as well, and the distance between that and the hem is what I need to take off. In my case, that's 2 centimeters. We never take it off the waistline, we always take it out of the middle. So I'm going to mark a centimeter on either side. Could be your 1/4 inch, but that's what I have to take off. And then I'm going to overlap them and sellotape that together, and then I have got the right length. Let's just make sure that it overlaps. My trusted glass, it was so hot when I was filming this. There we go. And the back on the other side, I don't have to measure anything. I'm just turning it over and then I'm placing it onto the other one, and then I see where I have to go, don't I? So just place that on really neatly, and then you can sellotape that again. Of course, in an ideal situation, you don't have to do anything to the pattern, but sometimes the child could be much bigger in the waist, but not the height, so you need to adjust it, or much smaller like this one. So you got to get it right, and you can always measure again. Make sure that it actually tallies. Now I'm going to go on to my skirt. I take off the seam allowance, I take off the hem, I fold up my seam allowance, and now I can measure from the shoulder point all the way down and see if it fits. Mine is still too long, you see. I have got a measurement of 23 and I've got about 25 in length, so I need to take 2 inches off, which is like 5 centimeters. So I mark 2.5 on either side, and then I overlap it. See, that's quite a lot I'm taking off here, but you have to do this in order to get it right. You can make it longer, you can make it wider, you can really play around with it, but this is for a special bride with a Wizard of Oz wedding, and I wanted to do it really well for her, so none of the box standard would have done. So I put a little bit of paper underneath there so I can now even out my skirt. So just cut that bit off and you've got the skirt done as well. And again, now I'm doing the same again. I put my top up and I'm checking, is it her requested 23 inches? And it is. It's actually 22, but I have a petticoat underneath it which peeps out. I'm ready. The last thing I have to do is to adjust my Kummerbund, and there's a separate video on the pattern of the Kummerbund and how you put that together. So I mark on there where it ends and I trim my Kummerbund pattern as well to make sure that it fits on afterwards. So just a little bit of a snip off, and I'm ready to do my flower girl dress. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.